Spiritually fit so that you can always find it in yourself, to go deep. Mentally fit so that you're listening to blend. Yeah. You're tuned into Blend, on Lightsoutclass, your number one electronic music station in God knows where. Let's try that again. Yeah, you're listening to Blend, on Lightsoutclass, your number one electronic music station in God knows where. My name is Lázougi. Once again, it's a pleasure for me to be here to be hosting you on this wonderful episode of Blend. I am having a fabulous weekend, a fantastic weekend, and I welcome you into my place of solace and adventure, this place where we come to chill, to interact, to listen to electronic music and have a wonderful time while we're doing so. Okay, so I make you welcome as we take another deep dive into our conversations for this episode of Blend. Once again, my name is Lázougi, and on this episode of Blend, as always, we'll be having conversations. In case you're just joining us for the first time and you're wondering what we do here on Blend, what we do here is simply talk, music, and conversation. but not just simply talk, music, and conversation. I would elaborate by saying that our conversations are bordered around topical issues happening in our society, and we come here to have these conversations, to take a deep dive into these conversations, to analyze these conversations while listening to electronic music. Okay, so every week on Blend, every episode of Blend, each and every episode of Blend, we'll be having topics of conversations, and this episode 2, is no different. So there's plenty of music on my playlist. As always, I'm going to be letting you in on what I have for your eargasm, this evening here in Lights Out Class. It has become widespread news, especially now in mainstream media, and it has become a talking point in many mainstream outlets that men are currently giving up on college education. I'm wondering if you have stumbled on one of such publications, or maybe you have seen or heard this discussed on TV. By the way, for you to be part of this conversation, I would like you to make use of the live chat box right here on your YouTube application. Okay, so if you have discovered in your course of running your daily affairs, or you may have heard from one source or the other what I'm about to talk about, I'd like for you to be part of this. Even if you haven't heard, we tend to learn one or two new things here on Blend, here on Lightsoutclass, your number one electronic music station. A talking point that men are currently giving up on college education. I currently have here on my screen 2 articles from 2 major news outlets, sources, publications. I have here Wall Street Journal. It's a major headline: a generation of American men give up on college. The number of men enrolled at 2- and 4-year colleges have fallen behind women by record numbers in a widening educational. No, I'll take that again. The number of men enrolled at 2- and 4-year colleges have fallen behind women by record levels in a widening education gap across the US. Let me just read 1 or 2 paragraphs so that we can see or have a clearer picture of what they're talking about. It was written by Douglas Belkin, September 6th, so not too far, just a couple of days behind us. No, I'm sure you may also have seen the signs, or you may also have noticed this trend way before mainstream media picking it up, because picking it up just about a couple of days ago, I don't know where they've been all this while, but let's just get into the article. Men are abandoning higher education in such numbers that they now trail female college students by record numbers. At the close of 2020-21 academic year, women made up 59.5 college students, an all-time high, and 40.5 for men, according to enrollment data from the National Student Clearinghouse. Okay, so that's just should I say a little bit of an insight into what this headline is talking about. I have another one here. Colleges have a guy problem. Like, is this like trying to be edgy or what? Like, this by the Atlantic. Colleges have a guy problem. Like, who makes sentences like that? Okay, none other by Derek Thompson. A recent viral news story reported that a generation of young men is abandoning college. Scratch the is are abandoning college. Okay, the pattern has deep roots. Let's just go into this. We have about an hour for us to have this conversation, to do everything we love to do here on Blend, here on Lightsoutclass, your number one electronic music station in God knows where. So there's plenty of time. This is just about 11-minute mark. So I would suggest you get a glass of wine. You find some place comfortable and just cruise. So where was I? Was reading this article. American colleges and universities now enroll roughly 6 women for every 4 men. This is the largest female-male gender gap in the history of higher education, and it's getting wider. Last year, US colleges enrolled 1.5 million fewer students than 5 years ago. The Wall Street Journal recently reported men accounted for more than 70% of the decline. So according to the Atlantic here, colleges have a guy problem. While mainstream media might see this as a problem, and there's a lot of speculation as to what what are the causes of this ongoing trend. There's a lot of speculation, finger pointing, I guess. However, there are also people who don't see it as a problem, and a large percentage of people won't see this as a problem. And there are also various schools of thought and different opinions. If you ask a large proportion of people what they think about college education, you'll find that not everybody will be exactly on the same page. There are various schools of thought. If you sample the population, if you sample the population's opinion, on one hand, for example, on one hand, there there are people who would say college isn't. There are people who say college isn't for everyone. If you're not, if you're not looking into having a career in a very highly specialized field, maybe like medicine, like engineering, very highly specialized fields, then if you're not looking to make a career in one of these highly specialized fields, then college isn't necessarily for you. And such people who share this school of thought will encourage individuals to pursue their creative passions, or to find themselves in careers that are related to their creative pursuits. You get what I mean? That is on one hand. And on the other hand, there are people who would say yes, college is indeed very necessary for, if not everyone, but for majority of should I say the public? Okay, majority of the public. If not everyone, at least everyone should aspire, or most people should aspire to want to go to college and have a higher education. However, such should be done later in life, when this person or this individual has an idea what he or she exactly wants to do. Perhaps after having a lot of experience in doing various things, and this person has a clear picture, then such an individual can further pursue this clear picture by going into college to acquire further knowledge. However, this individual will likely do this at a later age, let's say late 20s, early 20s. And there's also another school of thought, and people who share the school of thought, that if not everyone, but most people should go to college, but as soon as possible. Yeah, there are people who want their kids in college as soon as possible. The people who, so not everyone will be on the same page. So I've just given 3 instances, and 3 different schools of thought that people will likely share when you ask them their opinions about college. And definitely I would like to hear yours as well, and you can do this by using the live chat box right here on your YouTube application. Share your thoughts. What do you think so far about what we have been talking about? To join us, of course, you can use this opportunity to subscribe to the station, okay, and just hit the subscribe button, and hit the subscribe button, and also turn on the notification bell so that you get notifications when we go live. When we go live, that is you and I, for our broadcast. So moving deeper into what I was talking about earlier, I like to take a look at this phenomenon by accessing it from a foundational points, should I say. Yes, And what do I mean by this? Okay, like we should, you know, look at it from the foundation. Okay, and what is the foundation of an individual? Individual's education. That is, let's ask ourselves these questions. Okay, at what age should an individual or a person or a kid, or yeah, at what age should a kid necessarily begin his or her education? And what I mean by education, I'm talking about at what age is appropriate for a child to begin schooling. Okay, let me put it that way. Now you gotta get the idea. Okay, you gotta get the idea. So that's what I mean by looking at it from the foundation. Like when we take a look at it from the foundation and we come to a consensus, or maybe not a consensus, but we throw ideas, share opinions on what exactly, or like what age is appropriate for a child to begin schooling. Because if we have that at the back of our minds, we can should I say, calculate the number of years that this child has to pass through school, that is primary school, secondary school, and higher education, depending on when this child started. Okay, to know exactly which school of thought might be the best option, if you get what I mean. But let's go for a music break and let everything that I've said so far sink in and just chew on it a little bit. Okay, let's just relax. We take a music break, and when I come back, I'm gonna dissect this. Where I'm gonna dissect it, spread it out first to really understand where I'm taking this conversation. Okay, so I have two songs on my playlist. You're going to be listening to them back to back. The first one is titled Flight. I call this one Flight, and the follow-up to that, I call it Edge. Okay, so let's go for a music break here on Lightsoutclass, your number one electronic music station. You are tuned into Blend. My name is Lázougi. I'll be back right after this.
You're listening to your number one electronic music station. Yeah, in God knows where. spiritually fit so that you can always find it in yourself, to go deep. Mentally fit so that you're listening to blend.
back from that music break. You're listening to Blend, yeah, on Lightsoutclass, yo, the number one electronic music station in God knows where. um, yeah, in God knows where. Okay. We listened to two songs back to back during the music break. The first song that we listened to was called Flights, and the follow up to that was called Edge. And before the music break, we're having a conversation, and I would like us to take a foundational outlook at this current phenomenon that many of the major mainstream news outlets there are presently reporting on. And this foundational outlook can be explored by asking a critical question. And this question is, when is the right age to enroll a child in school, or to begin enrolling, or to begin a child schooling? What is this? I had to quickly sort through some technical issues. Yeah, that should do it. Wow. Okay, so let's explore this question and proper answers to it. Like, at what age is the right age for a child to begin schooling? And before we answer this question, we need to also take a holistic look at our times, and most especially related to we young people, our generation, and to look at the peculiarities of our times and the peculiarities of our generation. What do I mean? Parents these days most likely would have the two spouses, or the couple, both of them, the spouses making up the couple, both of them would want to work, or would most likely be employed before having to come together to form a relationship and to further explore the idea of marriage. So most likely they'll be working, and we also have, due to this, we also have a situation where both spouses are likely to be working, and this will create a situation where they would about the outcome of their child or children's future career choice if they enroll the child in school as soon as possible. And parents these days, due to having, if not one or multiple, if not one but multiple streams of income, that is both parents having multiple streams of income or at least a job, we choose to enroll their child in school at an early age so that they can have the time to focus on their careers, and also to kill two birds with one stone and have a situation where they can also control and have a better say in the career choice of their child or children later on in life. So if parents choose to enroll a child in school at an early age of say 1 year, or because going back to what I said earlier, parents who have time and their time occupied with their jobs or their pursuits or whatever it is that they have to do to bring in income would want to take the advantage of putting the child in school. And parents these days, to be frank, most times expect the school to do the job of raising their children for them, or creating an enabling environment for the upbringing of their children or their child, or their children. Let's just go further to think about that. So they take the advantage of enrolling the child in school to focus on other things, and so that later on in life, and how do they do this? You enroll a child in school at an early age of 1 year. He or she goes through primary school in this part of the world at 6 years. So at an early age of 6, 7, the child is done with primary school. You put him or her into secondary school at 7. Secondary school is how many years? In most cases, that's 6 years. So this child has completed primary school and secondary school at the age of 13. And parents that do this are actually proud of this. They make it a talking point and a bragging point to their friends, their colleagues, and people around them that they have children who finish school at such an early age. So you say you have a 14-year-old who is done secondary school. Meanwhile, you enroll the child in school at an early age of 1, or let's say 2. And you expect, as most parents these days, for the school to raise the child while you focus on other things because you pay the school fees. This has consequences later on. But most parents don't see that. They see it as a thing to be proud of. In most cases, when they have a child who is so young and is done with secondary school. And so a child who is 13, 14, is looking at future in what? In the next stage, and that's the university. Now, coming back to what I was saying earlier, that this enables the parents to have further control on what career path this child will have to take, because the child is 14 years. Okay, so you have a 14-year-old kid, little to no life experience. You're proud of him or her, that him or her, or is done with school. It's done with school, secondary school, primary school, at the age of 14, while you were focused on other things and you were paying the school fees. Again, this has consequences. But parents of our generation, we use this to further influence their children into what career choices and career paths they ought to make. Because again, the kid is 14, is 15. What does he or she know at that age? Little to no life experience, and we clearly seek the advice of his or her parents for what career choice So you have a kid who is 13, 14, 15, done with secondary school, looking at his or her parents saying, okay, the next stage is before me, what do I do? And the parents say, you're a genius, you finish school at 13, 14, you should be a doctor, you should be an engineer, you should be in one of these highly specialized fields. What does the child say to that? You'd say that all through his or her life, he has been pumped with that idea that he has far-reaching abilities. And this child has to look at the parents at that age for guidance. But enrolling a child at that little of an age, like I said, has consequences. Because, again, you cannot, because you pay the school fees, expect the child to be raised by the school. There has to be a foundation at home, first of all, and that foundation has to be laid by the parents of the child. There has to be an upbringing happening at home, first of all. But parents of our generation, or parents of my generation, or parents these days who are working class parents, we choose to pay the school fees. Let's be frank and honest with ourselves. We choose to pay that school fees so that they can have more time on their hands. Everybody is looking for more time, trading cash for time. But before we go further into the consequences, let's take another music break and listen to two songs back to back. The first one, I call it Lightsoutclass, followed by another song I call Woo Woo Woo. Enjoy this one. You're tuned into Blend here on Lightsoutclass, your number one electronic music station in God knows where.